You know, I taught African American studies for many years, and I was often amazed by students and their misconception of the slavery, and particularly how the enslavement impacted their current lives. And so now I do a lot of independent work, and one of the things I do, I'm a quilter. And so this particular quilt is about this topsy-turvy dowels. These topsy-turvy dowels, research have it that they was around well from the slavery period, well up until the 1970s. And of course, there was a slogan for the company that was very popular: turn me up, turn me back. First I'm white, then I'm black. And I made an actual quilt because I do quilting because of ways of using the arts to help young people try to understand about the situations that are going on today. And I think that this is really interesting because when we think about the concept of African American women and how they have been perceived, so much of that comes from that period of slavery and how we were received in slavery. So here you have a child who has a dowel: turn me up, turn me back. First I'm white, then I'm black. And of course, I mean, what does that say to a young black girl that's growing up? What does that say about her her self-image? What does that say about her worth as a woman? And these stereotypes have become embedded in the very historic memory of people. And by that I mean, from generation to generation, certain concepts and perceptions of what black women are and who they should be is passed down. So it's passed in that way. But it also we see it as it penetrates all facets of society, whether it be the media, whether it be within the educational system. We see these images of black women. Now, we would say today, oh, well, black women are not perceived as mammies or cooks or maids. I still think that part, seeing black women in this subservient position, still exists in our society. That hasn't changed. It becomes more sophisticated. Perceived as, loose, being perceived as ghetto, whatever that may be. These kind of images, but it still is not being seen as performing artists with who are educated, who know a lot about their craft, their music. So if you take a person like a Missy Elliott, for example, who's a musical genius, and the type of things that she can do. Even Lil' Kim, all these women, despite all however, whether they are playing into the stereotypes, whether or not the society feeds that and feeds those images, what it does, it people want that stereotype. And those stereotypes are coming all the way back from a long time ago. See, so in terms of the artist, a lot of artists feel like, well, I don't have to be concerned. I don't need to be concerned about all of this, but you do. There's a level of accountability in terms of artists, in terms of the producers, the industry itself, and the audience to say certain things like, we don't want this. We don't want this. Do you want your little kid doing this? Badu went through town naked on video. People was upset about that. Now, in that instance, I think that Erykah Badu was making a statement that, I could be doing all this other stuff, but you don't pay me any attention until something, tragic happens. So in that instance, I thought that was a good piece of art, making a statement. People really had a problem with her with that. Really, they did. And she old school. But I thought I understood what she was doing with that. So you see what I'm saying? So the line, on one hand, you have something like that yes, it's risque, but artists do things that's risque, and it's necessary. But it's also a line of to do things that are trashy, that are denigrating. So you have to find a way to balance that line. So like I said, what I thought what Erykah Badu was doing at that time, she was making a statement. That was clear to me. Now, like I said, a lot of people went crazy. I'm not saying artists, conform. No, that's why they're artists, because they do make statements. But on the other hand, you have to know, in the words of Kenny Rogers, when to hold and when to fold, you got to know that line. You know?
Right.
And I think that that's where we're having a problem with it today, because people don't actually know the line. So things become trashy or unsophisticated instead of, having that line of that it's artistic, that it makes a statement.
Right.
So in other words, what Erykah Badu, people, I can be arguing about that because I can, it's a lot of points I can talk about. What Nicki Minaj is doing, what's that? That's the difference. And hip hop culture, I am hip hop. I'll be 50. We are hip hop. We the generation that started hip hop. And the purpose of this whole, and I lived in New York at the time, also during this period. The whole purpose of it was, to raise people's consciousness, to talk about what was going on, what was happening in the streets, to get the voice out that had been silenced. And the radios and all that didn't want to even play that. So people was doing their own thing to get that out. That's how it started. And then it evolved into a whole culture. But it was about that. You see, so that political part has died out.